Hey guys, Tyler Wood from Coldwell Banker up here in Big Bear Lake, California. So today I wanted to talk about appraisals, low appraisals. You know, there's nothing that's more of a kiss of death to a real estate deal than a property appraising for less than the value that it's in escrow at. There's a couple points I wanted to make about appraisals, just to put the thoughts out there. Number one is, real estate appraisals are not fact; they're opinion. Just because one appraiser thinks a property is worth a certain amount doesn't mean all appraisers are going to think that. Two appraisers can differ on the value of a property. So that's very important, that just because you get an appraisal does not make it fact. I've seen various appraisals that are inaccurate, not correct, the comps used are wrong. There's just a lot of problems that can come up with appraisals that make them inaccurate. So that's the first thing, is to make sure that you know that they're not fact, that they are opinion, and that they can be changed. Had a couple appraisals come in low recently, and when you look at the appraisals and you look at the comps that they're using, the comparable properties, and the adjustments that they're making, it's not adding up again. So what I would recommend if an appraisal comes in low is trying to rebut it, trying to submit documents or facts that show that it's not worth that, or get another appraisal. In Big Bear, we get a lot of appraisers that come from out of the area that may be somewhat familiar with the area, but they're not really knowledgeable. They don't know what makes Moon Ridge different than maybe Fox Farm or Big Bear City, and they're using comps on paper that may look the same, but in person are not. And that really affects the value. So try to make sure that when you do have an appraisal, you have somebody that's competent in the area, that knows the values in the area, and that'll help get you a more accurate appraisal. But again, two appraisers can differ on the value, so that's important to keep in mind. Some other thoughts on appraisal value. Appraisal value is not necessarily market value. Okay, and the difference between the two is market value is what a buyer will buy the property for. Appraisal value is generally what a bank will give you the value for. And by that, appraisal value has certain restrictions. They can only go back a certain amount of time to find comparables that have sold. They can only go a certain distance between properties, certain age difference, size difference. So there's restrictions on appraisal value. Market value, the buyers, if they're willing to pay the price, they're willing to pay the price. A good example is I have a property listed right now at 209. We've had 4 offers on it in a 2 to 3 week period, yet the bank appraised it for $50,000 less than that. So obviously the market value is there, or else buyers wouldn't be making the offers on it, but the bank is having a hard time appraising it. So there's a difference between market value and appraisal value. I guess my point is in this volatile market right now, values, appraisal values, prices, they're all over the board. Just because an appraisal comes in low does not make it fact, and you have to look at the appraisal to make sure that it's accurate. And ultimately, it comes down to what the buyer is willing to spend on the property, if they're able to get the loan and feel comfortable moving forward. Make sure if you are getting an appraisal, you try to use somebody that's locally competent and knowledgeable, and that'll help get you a more accurate appraisal. So just some thoughts I had on appraisals. It's Tyler at thetimwoodgroup.com, and thanks for listening.